Shout out my man D Matt. Tap in with him. Great podcast doing this thing over here.
Yeah. 901 Shelby Drive. Look alive, look alive. Came up on this side, now they on the other.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Grind City Hoops. I'm your host, Donovan McLemore, and today we have a special guest. We have Rob Montgomery on the podcast. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Rob Montgomery. I'm from Montgomery Village, Maryland. Graduated from Central Michigan, 2020. Currently playing pro overseas.
Fantastic. So, everybody has an origin, basketball story. Everyone has either a family member or they got into basketball, some way or another. So how did you end up getting into basketball when you were young?
Yeah, I definitely got into it from my pops. He used to hoop back in the day, and I tried different sports coming up: baseball, football, and basketball was the one that stuck. And once I decided I wanted to hoop, that's when he really started, pushing me. It was like, all right, we can do this. And also my big sister, she played hoops too. She went to West Virginia. She was in the WNBA for a year. Then injuries set her back a little bit. So just seeing them kind of just motivated me to play the game. I want to pursue it for real.
For sure. So how did you know, at what point did you realize basketball was like the main sport? I know you mentioned you played, football and other sports, but what point were you like, basketball, this is just what I want to do?
I'll probably say at the end of my freshman year, when I really started to lock in and focus and say this is what I wanted to do. I always just played it growing up, but I was just like a hobby, never really was serious about it and wanted to go anywhere with it. So I'll probably say freshman year.
Okay, so basically you didn't really get really competitive into it until the freshman year of high school?
Mm-hmm. That's when I started playing AAU and everything, getting on the circus and whatnot. Not the circus, but getting out there a little bit in the mix.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think it was a little bit of a learning curve starting so late? Because, a lot of kids start playing competitive so early nowadays, elementary school, middle school, you starting in high school. Was there a learning curve there, or was it just you kind of just picked it up?
It's a little learning curve, obviously. Naturally, it's going to be some, but it just made you work harder. If you really wanted that much, it made you work a little bit harder. And, it's an uphill battle, but it worked out for the best. I think it helped me in the long run, having that uphill battle and that little learning curve, because it made me pursue it more. It made me more aggressive in trying to get better and approaching the game.
Absolutely, for sure. You mentioned your older sister played at West Virginia and in the WNBA. What role, how huge was she growing up, especially when you were trying to really get competitive with basketball? What role did she play?
She played a huge role, bigger than she thinks, honestly, because I remember, I was probably in middle school, high school, maybe. And I remember going on a visit with her to Duke, to NC State, and just seeing the facilities and all that stuff. That was when I was like, dang, this is crazy. It was real eye opening.
Right.
That's what I was like, this is really what I want to do.
Absolutely. Because a lot of people, look, you gotta see it to be able to believe it, and you got somebody in your family to do it. It's just it's pretty crazy. So freshman year of high school, just take us through your experience. Were you always on varsity, or you started on JV and you had to work your way up? What was your high school experience as far as basketball?
Yeah, freshman year I played the whole year on JV. JV, their season ends a little bit before varsity.
Right.
So I was supposed to get called up to varsity, and I was actually ineligible, so I missed out on that opportunity to get called up. And so I just played JV my freshman year, and then that I started to lock in on my academics a little bit, because that kind of that kind of blew me a little bit. I'm like, dang, I was supposed to be the only freshman to get called up too. So
exactly
that one kind of hurt a little bit, and I took that one on the chin, and I had to lock in on the academic side as well as the hoop.
Mm-hmm. So definitely locking in the academic side, but a lot of people don't really see what happens behind the scenes, especially in the social media area. They already see on court stuff. How big is the mental side of the game? Staying locked in and focused, especially through a long season when you have ups and downs.
Yeah, man. Most of the game is really mental when you think about it. So if you can stay locked in for the most part, then you'll be all right. Everything else will kind of fall into place, as long as you put in work, obviously. But it's definitely a mental battle. Throughout the season, it's going to be highs and lows, ups and downs, and pretty much everything in between. So you got to find that. You got to find that balance for sure, and you got to be able to just navigate through it. Understand that you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, and you got to take the good with the bad and the bad with the good. So that's kind of how I deal with it, and just kind of stay stay balanced, try not to get too high, try not to get too low, and just keep moving forward at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, obviously, anyone that's playing high school basketball is playing for a chance to try to play collegiate basketball, trying to get an opportunity. So, at what point in high school did you start receiving, interest from colleges?
I would probably say after my sophomore year, I started getting letters from, a couple local D2s and D3s. I went to Watkins Mill in Montgomery County, so it's not really the biggest school in terms
Right,
of basketball-wise and being recruited, just the county in general, But I'd probably say sophomore year is when I started getting, some letters coming in. But I always wanted that Division I, so
exactly.
I didn't get that actually until I did a post grad year up in Mount Zion in Baltimore. So I did a post grad year there, and that's when I really started getting some Division I interest. I had some my senior year of high school, but no offers, and that's why I decided to go post grad and do a prep year.
Okay. Going into your post grad, just elaborate on that because a lot of kids are faced with the situation now with the transfer portal. You weren't facing this when you came out, but whether you go post grad or just take the offers they have in the senior year of high school. Are you a pro post grad or just take what you can get when you come out of your senior year?
I think it's everyone's situation is different,
Okay.
So me, I think it benefited me. I was young, graduating high school, so post grad year wouldn't have hurt me in terms of that. And just weighing my options. Like I had faith in myself, belief in myself that if I do this post grad year, I'll get that Division I look that I wanted and that I thought I deserved. So essentially just betting on yourself, but at the same time, you got to be realistic with yourself. If it's something that might not benefit you in the long run, then you might not want to look into it. Like if you are getting the letters that you're like short looking at, and you like, man, I don't really want to pay him no mind, then it might not be his best for you. But if you're borderline, then I feel like it can do service to you for real.
Definitely, for sure. So, post grad year, obviously you started getting more D1 interest. So what led you to choose Central Michigan over the others?
Actually, I didn't go straight to Central Michigan.
Oh, really? Okay.
I went to three different colleges actually. So
Okay.
I went to St. Francis Brooklyn my freshman year, small D1. Actually, they just discontinued all their sports, which is actually kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I went there my freshman year. Had a good year there for a freshman, pretty solid year, but ultimately wasn't the best fit for me. And I entered the transfer portal. And my sophomore year, I went JUCO for a year actually. I did a year at junior college out in Iowa, Indian Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Great program out there. Shout out to my guy, Coach Hank, Coach Duke. Great guys out there. Did a post grad year there, and then finally went to Central Michigan for my last 2 years and finished out there. But yeah, it was a journey, man. Just in college alone was a journey, So everything kind of for me was just been a journey from high school to post grad to college, and even now I'm still writing my story. So
definitely, for sure. Obviously, you got obviously it's not a straight line to where you want to go. Especially like nowadays, it's never going to be a straight line. How did you maintain the same level of commitment to the game? Because a lot of people get tested when they go to college, especially to being like the star on their high school team, and they go to college and maybe they're not playing a lot or they're not at the school they want, and they lose focus, and it really shows they don't really love the game. Like, how did your love of the game help you when you got to the collegiate level?
For me, man, it was just being a hard worker. That's something that was instilled in me from an early age. When I started playing the game, my pops told me you gotta work hard, and not just work hard. Be a hard worker. There's a difference between the two.
Yeah.
So told me that, and that's what really stuck with me. Throughout my career, and still stick with me today. Just coming up in the county or just outside the county in college or whatever. Most of the times I'm not the most talented guy. I'm not the most skilled, but I play hard. I do the little things: rebound, defend, communicate. I do all the little stuff that transitions to winning. Mm-hmm. And that helped me get on the court when I was young, or when I was in college. That helped me stay on the court, and then just working on my game in the meantime. Because understanding that, okay, I might not be the most skilled right now, but I'm still gonna work on my game so that I'm closing that gap every day. So that I get closer. So now I'm beating that guy out, and I'm playing harder than him.
Mm-hmm.
consistent. So now the coach can't take me off the floor because he know I'm gonna play hard and he knows I'm gonna produce. So once you mix those two, then you find yourself, as a useful piece to pretty much any program, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, obviously, went to Central Michigan for your last 2 years of college. COVID kind of hit you kind of later. It hit me when I was in high school. When did COVID impact you? Was it during college or was this kind of like post college?
It was college, so COVID kind of hit me at the worst time possible. So it hit me my senior year at college. As soon as I was finishing up my season. So pre-draft, NBA workouts, all that stuff was kind of slow. The process. We missed out on all that. Unless you kind of coming from those Power 5 guys, mid-major, putting up big numbers. But my situation was a little different, and I feel like that would have helped me out a little bit in that case. But everything happens for a reason. Everybody else across the country had to deal with the same issues I was having. So for me, it was just another face of adversity to me. And I was just gonna keep working my way through it, and whatever happens.
Absolutely. So, obviously, that's definitely hurts. Having the chance to go to pre-draft workouts and stuff like that. But then the pandemic hit. How did you stay focused, during the time when we had to, stay apart from everything, especially facilities being shut down, can't go to basketball courts. How did you stay locked in during that time? It was tough for a lot of basketball players.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough for me. I definitely fell back on my family a lot. Being away from them the 4 years at school, I was away from them for a minute. I would only come home for the summer. And even when I was home, I would be so locked in on basketball. I wasn't as present as I should have been, So just being with them, made it easy to navigate through the pandemic. I mean, it's nothing like no one ever saw before. So it was all new for everybody. And then, you just had to find different ways to stay active and really get to it. If you want to grind, you can grind. And, I think that's when we was out there getting work in with Coach B on the top and, just finding different ways to, stay sharp and stay with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as the pandemic started to clear up around 2021, 2022, when did you make the decision to go overseas?
Yeah, I actually made it during the pandemic. So
okay.
My first year, I was over there. We were still in the midst of the pandemic. Majority of the time, we were on lockdown over there. So that was different in itself over there. I was in Macedonia my first year, and so I was just over there in the pandemic, and that was still crazy to me. It was my first time in Europe, so I kind of had a little bit of culture shock, and everything's a new experience, and just being over there was way different. And then you throw COVID on top of that, it was kind of crazy, but I still had a pretty good year over there. I had a great time and I enjoyed my experience. I'm thankful for that over there, that adversity and all that over there. It helped me grow as a person and player.
Definitely, for sure. So, fast forward into where you are now. Where are you currently?
Currently, I'm home right now. I'm just coming off an injury right now. I had surgery back in December. So I'm bouncing back from that. I'm feeling pretty good. Trying to get back from that. Been wrapping things up and yeah, I'll be good to go this upcoming season. And last year I was in Germany before I got injured.
Oh yeah,
I was in Germany. My team actually just won the championship, which was crazy because coming off a championship, you that much more hungry, you that much back to it. And I had to have this setback of surgery. I never really been injured in my career before, so that was a new experience for me too. And yeah, just been navigating through that and ready to get back to it. So a little extra chip on my shoulder. With that sense.
For sure. I actually wanted to ask this question because this is the first time we had somebody that, recently got hurt. What's the process of rehab? Because a lot of people don't see that behind the scenes either. Is it every day, a fight and grind, or is just a couple times a week, or it depends on the person?
It definitely depends on the person, but I think generally it's uphill battle, man. It's physical therapy. You got to do it. People say it's light, but it's not light. It's days where it hurts. You're like, man, I don't want to do it. But those are the days you got to push through. And those are the days you got to realize you need to do it. And those are the days that are going to catapult you to getting back to your old self or better than your old self.
Right.
But it's a grind in general, man. It takes a toll mentally, physically, So if you're not solid there and sharp there, then it's easy to go south. So, it kind of goes back to staying mellow, not getting too high, too low with the process, and understanding that it is a process. And, not trying to rush it, but at the same time, you got to push yourself a little bit. So, it's been a tedious process, really, but understanding that it's going to come one day. So just staying with it. You just got to stick with it throughout the process, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, final question, wrapping it up. Where do you see yourself, or where do you want to go actually in the future? Are you still staying overseas, or you want to get one shot at the league one day?
Yeah, I mean, I want that shot at the league 100%. That's something that I never really had. Felt like it was kind of, I don't want to say stolen away from me, but I feel like I could have had,
right.
greater opportunities, with COVID striking. But I definitely want to make it to the league, and not just make it to the league. I want to stay in the league once I get there. So that's my biggest thing. And, I think it's something that I can do. It's something that I'm going to work for, and I'm going to keep grinding for.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're rooting for you over here for sure. We appreciate you coming on today.
Hey, appreciate you for having me.
For sure.
Really ain't my mother fault, man. I'm not to blame, man. This industry is cutthroat. I'm not the same, man. And I could let